Yo! What's going on, Philadelphia Eagles fan? It's your boy Philly Day One, and we got great news going into the weekend. Well, it's only Thursday coming up, but we got great news coming up, man. We still got a couple of days before the game, and in today's Wednesday practice, you had Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter, and Landon Dickerson all practicing. That is great news. We still got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then Sunday. That is very, very great news to see everybody able to come out there and practice. There were no limitations. We do have bad news. Greg Calcaterra was not able to go. He was on the side doing his own individual drill, so he was not able to, practice with everybody. He's still having the oblique injury. I see a lot of people talking about this New England Patriots calling up for AJ Brown. Look, AJ Brown ain't going nowhere. AJ Brown said publicly he wants to stay, and the team has said publicly they want AJ Brown here. I know a lot of y'all believe that AJ Brown's a problem because he's pointing out things. He looks visibly unhappy. He's a competitor. I think because of those things, it forces this team to be really, really, the kind of stand on the performance that's being put out on the football field. Whether we win or lose, we know it ain't right. We know that something is wrong. This offense is not moving how it should be. We're way too talented for that. So I love it for AJ Brown, to him to call out, to say what everybody should be saying. It should be some urgency here. Outside of that, we got two new practice squad signings, and Titus Leo and Jaheim Bell. I'm sorry, a tight end, and we got an edge rusher. I have video on those guys, and we're gonna look at them and see what can they bring to this team. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna look at that. We also gonna look at Elliott Parks. Had Jordan Mailata on podcast, was able to interview him, and Jordan Mailata talked about why this is not the same 2023 slump we went into, the collapse in 2023. This is nothing like that, and he talks about it to Elliott Parks, and I have that video for y'all, man. Yes, the Titus Leo is the first guy we're gonna show, man. I got a little bit of a mix because he was with the Cleveland Browns. He was also with the New England Patriots, and with both of those teams, he looked like he has really, really good potential. He looks really solid against the run. He looks like a strong individual. He's not gonna win with a lot of speed. It don't look like. He's pretty stiff in his hips, it looks like, but as you can see, man, the man. I think he's great for the team we got around, because it seems like when we get good rushes, we don't have anybody to finish those off. And sometimes pass rushers have got to be the guy who finish off those rushes. We get guys who able to scramble out and break the line of scrimmage and run for 10 yards on really good rushes. That deflates the defense. But I think that he can bring something if if they elevate him. I believe he can bring those pickup rushes. He's kind of got somebody do a really good rush, and he just pick up the sack. So it'll look like his sack, but in the same sense, it just stopped those guys from getting out, man. I think this whole season has been a bunch of guys being able to rush their way out of sacks. We've been there. We've had great rushes, and they're null and void by the people who are able to get out and go get 10 yards, sometimes 15 yards off a really good pass rush. Next guy we have is Jaheim Bell, which I really, really like this guy because he showed a lot of heart when it comes to run blocking. I think he's got to get a little stronger. He's 24, so he's been in the league for a while. But he's got to get a little stronger. As you can see, man, he don't mind running up there to take those blocks, man, but he seems a little undersized, and he's bouncing off people. You don't want that when you run blocking. You want to either run somebody over or be able to stay connected to him. But he shows no fear when he's going to go block. So, and because of how the Patriots used him, because of how the Patriots used him, him coming up to wham block people, that can turn into a pass easy. So, I don't know if he starts this year. Maybe we're just filling the roster. I mean, the practice squad up. But I think with some development, just like Titus, man, with some development, he can probably be a pretty good player for us. Very young player too. So let's get into the video, man, of EJ Smith talking. Well, there's a lot of teams that are getting beat around the league by bad teams or putting up bad performances. I think. I'm gonna let you hear the video first. Run the tape.
I'm curious, like, how do the Eagles' problems compare to some of the other teams at the top of the NFL through 6 weeks, and how, it seems like there are a lot of imperfect teams that are sort of making up the list of contenders.
So when I look at this Eagles team, I think that the defense, if they're healthy, is fine. I really do, if they're healthy. I know pass rush is a problem, and obviously you had the weird retirement thing, but they'll get Nolan Smith back, they'll get Jalen Carter back. Maybe you trade for a rusher, but I'm not terribly worried. I think coverage is good enough when those guys are healthy. Offensively, you got to get this figured out. It's almost good news, though, that it's not to be like Pollyannish, but it's week 7. You got the whole season to figure this out. It would be worse, I actually think, if this was happening at the end of the year and like in the playoffs, right? And the offense, they've got time to try to come up with solutions. They've come up with solutions in the past to problems on offense. But it is, one of the great challenges of Nick Sirianni's coaching career.
Okay. The difference between that is Buffalo Bills lost their last 2 games. The difference between how the Buffalo Bills are playing when they're losing, they're playing bad and they're losing. Nobody saw the Buffalo Bills as repeating the Super Bowl. Nobody did. Kansas City Chiefs, they got blew out in the Super Bowl, and they didn't bring nothing back but a tackle. So nobody see them guys as repeating the Super Bowl. Nobody offensive roster looks like our offensive roster, and aren't giving up 17 points. Josh Allen got an offensive roster in which he just has a tight end and maybe a slot receiver, and they're putting up 40 points. We know something is wrong with this offense, man. To kind of keep blanketing it is being the problem. You know what I'm saying? They have got to perform better, way better. I think it starts off with the offensive coordinator and Kevin Petula, and Jalen Hurts is not far behind it. I looked at some tape, and he is just not throwing the ball to open guys. So I don't know what he's looking at. I don't know what the coverage. I mean, what he thought the coverage was. It's too many times where he's not hitting open guys. He's not seeing them. So these components have got to get better. And on that note of the offense getting better, we had Elliot Parks had a question for Mailata, and we're gonna look at the video real quick.
What makes you feel like the coaching is great? Because you have an insight to that we don't see. Because on the outside, the offense is being called predictable, vanilla. Everybody knows what they're. You have way more information than we do. What makes you confident the coaching is great?
Well, just being there in 23 and hearing the detail that's being coached, being at the practices, that the detail, even in the drills, when they coach the drills, the detail, that's the difference. Detail wasn't there in 23, and I'll happily say that.
Okay.
I'll be honest there. The detail was not there, the technique was not there in 23, and now it is. So I can't relate the two. And for me, that's where I draw it back to the execution of players part. When we want to run play, we want to marry it up in the passing game too. So when that look, when we don't run that look well to set up the passing game, everyone's like, oh, well, now it looks like 23. Well, it's just we're not running the ball well.
Yeah.
And that's at the end of the day, we need to establish the run game up front, and it starts with the O-line, and that's our main goal this week.
Jordan Mailata assures us that this is not 2023. We're gonna go through some stuff, but this is not 2023. You guys can relax. I'm one of the guys who is a little frantic about it because this roster is so talented that we should be able to get another Super Bowl. I don't want nothing stopping that. I don't want guys going at each other next in the locker room to stop it. I don't want the fact that we can't get on the same page all year long, though, all year long to stop it. You know what I'm saying? We have an opportunity to repeat a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And we might can get 3 if we get our stuff together. We probably can get 3. If Kevin Patullo can evolve in this season, I'm sure we can get 3. He's just got to evolve because we got people locked up for long distances. We can get 2 more. All we got to do is be real with ourselves and fix these little issues. That is all I got for you guys today, man. Like, comment, subscribe, turn those post notifications on so you don't miss no video. And we out. Let's go Birds.